If ICE comes to your workplace, if ICE comes to your door, you do not have to open the door. And if they want to keep asking you questions, you say, I would like to speak to my attorney. In New York and California, you have a right to an attorney, including if you are undocumented or anything.
Up to DOJ, what I find disturbing is that any member of Congress wants to educate people how they evade law enforcement.
Holman was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally. Mm-hmm. Were you?
I was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah. There is a member of the Trump administration who is threatening and seeks to open an inquiry. And are you going to do it?
For far too long, the leftists just felt like they could openly commit crimes and nobody on the other side would be willing to go after them, as traditionally, prosecuting your political enemies was seen as antithetical to democracy, so these Democrats could assume they were safe, as the first time Trump talked about going after Democrats.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Headlines like these were everywhere. As CNN reported, Trump threatens to jail her if he wins the election. So after Trump won in 2016, he just let her be and moved on. But ever since the left actually prosecuted Trump and convicted him of several felonies, he may not feel the same way he did before.
What do you say to people who worry that targeting an individual firm or individuals who aren't Jack Smith
Excuse me,
actions?
I've been targeted for 4 years. Longer than that. So you don't tell me about targeting. I was the target of corrupt politicians for 4 years, and then 4 years after that. So don't talk to me about targeting.
As they actually put Trump in the position of win the election or go to prison. So this administration really feels like the gloves are finally off. Even from the beginning, when he picked his VP, he didn't do the traditional safe thing and select someone to contrast his positions within the party like Pence. He picked another MAGA candidate, doubling down on his existing audience. And although a lot of people would like to see Trump go after AOC, I honestly believe it would backfire. The same way the Democrats thought a Trump with 34 felonies would hurt his chances, it only served as a rallying point for his base. And even though I'm not too concerned about an AOC running for president, I 100% believe if she got a mugshot like Trump standing up for a liberal issue by standing against Donald Trump, that would catapult her career forward faster than anything. As she might not be the smartest person, but neither was Biden.
I promised I was going to have a cabinet that looked like America. And it does. More minorities, more women, more labor. I'm serious. Think about it.
And before the entire mainstream media turned against him after his horrendous debate performance, every Democrat in the country was 100% behind Biden, so the bar for Democrat presidential candidates has never been lower. They just had to play the part. She despises Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is not a scientist. He is not an engineer. He is a billionaire con man with a lot of money. He does not have this kind of good background.
Talks to her voters like they're kindergartners.
Understand that authoritarians are kind of like the wizard in The Wizard of Oz.
And has brief moments of clarity.
Wherever there's a hypocritical window, for example, I think one of the most biggest examples of this is insider trading in Congress. Like,
dude.
Well, let's be clear. She oftentimes has insights like this, or when she called out the $1.7 trillion omnibus spending bill being over 4,000 pages long and only receiving it hours before she was expected to vote on it. But when it comes down to actual action, she does whatever the establishment and Nancy Pelosi tells her to, which sadly makes her the ideal candidate for low information voters and the Democrats. She's a very recognizable figure in pop culture. She says all the things young people want to hear, but still votes 100% in line with the establishment. So I don't think gifting them with a mugshot is going to do much for the cause, because all we really want is this whole culture of crime to stop, and there's other ways to accomplish this. As when ICE conducts raids on Venezuelan gangs,
Keep on going. They took hundreds of them today. How many people did that they get today? They got 5 people. That sucks, right?
If they're shouting and helping these people get away with bullhorns, how is that legal?
You're exactly right. When they come to they cross the line of impediment, and that's why I'm working very close, starting this morning with Department of Justice, and where do they cross that line of impediment? So they may find themselves in a pair of handcuffs very soon.
As AOC giving out pretty much the most bare bones legal advice ever in English, that shouldn't be happening, but I don't know how effective that is compared to these groups straight up impeding police activity and protecting criminal gangs, as this should be the most open and shut case ever. And they aren't the only ones, as this lady in Colorado is giving them specific instructions.
No tiene que abrir la puerta. No abren la puerta sin un orden firmado por un juez con la dirección y la persona específica.
Then all the way in California, there are similar groups.
Get out! Migra fuera! Get out! Immigration! Get out! Is not welcome here.
We are super happy to report that once the agents saw that they were being recorded and that the people were alerting the community with the megaphone, nobody was taken.
ICE not speaking to the specific incident other than to say it was not a raid or sweep.
And over in Illinois, they're actually providing them with supplies.
The threat of mass deportations has meant more people are afraid to come to the store to get the items they need.
Now we're having to shift a lot of our operations to being mobile because people are afraid to leave the house.
Right now, volunteers are scrambling to pack up this store because the location has been sold, and they're going to need help from the community in order to continue their work.
These left-wing groups have become so comfortable with crime, they don't mind doing interviews with the local news or even giving their groups official names for people to track them down by. But what's insane is people on TikTok are actually coming together to set up ICE trackers.
Yesterday, as you can see in the map behind me, was a pretty busy day with a total of 235 reportings on the map. Big hotspots yesterday included the Aurora, Denver, Colorado area.
And she wasn't the only one, as they're out there doing daily updates on how to evade law enforcement.
This is the second cop that was spotted by Point Ruston in Tacoma. This one specifically wasn't undercover. Watch out, guys. Starting off, there was a tip that was posted last night that off Chrome Avenue in Homestead, Florida, they were supposed to be walking the street all day. It seems that they have started that around 10:23 a.m. So at 7:50 a.m. at 3 Avenue Northwest in Renton, Washington, they were parked. There's 2 reports of that.
I know some people thought this would be aiding and abetting. Tom Homan was calling it impediment, but I honestly wonder if they can get charged for harboring a fugitive, as a misconception the left has about these ICE raids is they aren't just looking for random people without papers. They're only going after known criminals, where they can turn themselves in, or if they have to go out and find them, and they're amongst other undocumented individuals, only then will those people be detained as well. So if they're going after a known criminal, and you have these TikTokers helping them with ICE maps, or providing them with supplies while they hide, or using a megaphone to announce ICE's arrival, I feel like everybody down that line should be at least tried for harboring a fugitive. And should that fugitive go on to commit another crime, these activists should be considered accomplices. Even if they think they're just providing snacks or attending a protest in a parking lot, if these feds were looking for a criminal and you help them get away to commit another crime, you are equally as guilty in my mind. And that's the problem these people have, is they have no idea who these individuals they're assisting are, or what their criminal records might be. They just know this is a Donald Trump initiative, so by default, they just want to be loudly against it. But if this administration just goes across the country and very publicly arrests these groups for very serious crimes with long prison sentences, I imagine this would all disappear within weeks. As remember all those oil activists? It seemed like every single month they were cementing themselves to the streets, spray painting airplanes or putting orange paint over paintings, until they threw serious prison sentences to a bunch of them all at the same time. And for over 5 months, we haven't heard a single thing about them since. It's almost like the criminal justice system actually works when it's actually allowed to work. But we'll see what Tom Homan and Donald Trump actually do, as you don't want them to not arrest somebody based on the backlash politically, but at least it looks like they're finally gonna deliver. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on how America is finally back, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on how California's Governor Newsom is freaking out over his Doge audit.